Scotch, or we can go back to business.
Hey, Counsel, there were 3 remaining paragraphs in the state's motion in limine regarding penalty. Paragraphs 4, 5, and 6. Paragraph 4, any comments by any witness concerning the nature of the sentence that ought to be
call. Deterrent to crime. We can't argue that. We're not going to argue that. So we're not going to argue cost, number one. We're not going to argue that not imposing is not a deterrent. Because actually, it is the ultimate deterrent, at least individually.
Yes, sir. And this motion is in regards to evidence being admitted. Paragraphs 4, 5, and 6 of the state's motion in limine are granted. No such evidence in any of those regards should be presented to the jury. And as a corollary, no such argument should be made to the jury. You'd want time to confer with those witnesses?
Yes, I do. But when we're calling those other witnesses, Ms. Hoffman, maybe some of them, I want to tell them it's in the hall and show them that, tell them not to do it, because they're upset, obviously, Joe. And they're going to tend to want to sneak that in on the tell them they better not do it.
Ms. Arnold?
Your Honor, there's a couple of discovery issues before the jury comes back in. Ms. Hawthorne just gave us, during the break, records that she received last night, apparently, from somewhere in Michigan. The other thing is Dr. Berland, apparently, based on Dr. Wu's deposition and some other information, conducted a second MMPI on Mr. Bargo. And I believe that he indicated he was testing his dad as well. None of that information has been disclosed to the state, so we would ask that prior to Dr. Berland's testimony on Monday that we could get that today so that we would have time to review that.
One second. I didn't understand what the status of the second MMPI is.
Apparently, Dr. Berland administered another test to Mr. Bargo after we took his deposition.
That's true.
According to Dr. Wu's deposition, he said he had reviewed 2 MMPIs of Mr. Bargo Jr.
That is true, Judge. My understanding was he did.
My question is, has he generated a report regarding that second MMPI?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that there was an MMPI done on Mr. Bargo Jr. and that there was an and that was only one. And then there was an MMPI that was done on Michael Bargo Sr. And that's only one.
Well, is there a report, the judge is asking? Was there a report generated?
Dr. Berland is shaking his head in the negative.
The results of the MMPI of the first one, and let me tell you why I thought there were 2. Dr. Wu, in his deposition that we took last week, indicated that he had reviewed 2 MMPIs of the defendant, one that was given in 2012 and one that was given in 2013. And my concern is if there is another one, if there's not one, that's fine, but if there's another one out there, we would like to have a copy of that.
Dr. Berland's present in the courtroom, is that correct?
Yes, he's present.
Dr. Berland, can you come forward so I can inquire briefly? Dr. Pearl, you can just go up to that podium. I consider you to be an officer of the court. How many MMPIs were administered regarding Michael Bargo Jr.?
Just one.
One.
At least that I know of.
No.
Regarding you.
Yeah.
I think that answers the question.
So Dr. Wu was just mistaken, and that's fine.
Very well. Thank you, sir. Mr. Holloman, do you want to accomplish that issue regarding the witnesses being notified not to disobey the order that I've entered regarding the motion in limine? If you'll do that briefly, please.
Judge, in the records we just got today, we would object to those being placed into evidence until we at least have a chance to review them, because we just got them.
Granted. Make sure that's squared up with the chair. Could you put it down just a little bit? Thank you. That's good. Hold that for me, please. Actually, let me have it. I may need it up here in case something happens. Noting the defendant's counsel back in the courtroom, are we prepared to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, please, the court, Charles Holland, for the record. I've explained this in detail. I've broken these sentences down in the strongest sort of language, but professionally, and told them exactly what they cannot do is prohibited by the court. And I told them the court would probably respond very harshly if they violated any of those rules.
Very well. Please have the jury return to the courtroom. The jury having returned to the courtroom, the defense may call its next witness.
Defense calls Virgil Waller.
And if you'll come up to this witness stand, please. Please raise your right hand, face the clerk.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth shall be God?
Please be seated.
Hold there, pull up the microphone. That's good. Let me get you to turn and introduce yourself to the jury, please.
My name is Virgie Waller. I live in Summerfield, Florida.
And what is your relation to the defendant, Michael Bargo?
I am the grandmother.
Okay. During the course of Michael growing up, did you have an opportunity to be able to observe his, for lack of a better word, interreaction between him and his mother?
Yes, I did.
Starting at what age, roughly?
On the day he was brought home from the hospital.
What did you see?
A beautiful baby boy. And as he grew up, he lived with me for a few months, and then
What year was that?
92. I can't remember years.
He had just been a toddler then.
We was there for about 8 months, and then the house was built behind me. That's where they lived. Our
When you
fence
say
joined.
they, who's they?
Michael Sr. and Michael's mother.
What type of relationship would they appear to have?
I thought was very good.
Okay. Go ahead.
When Michael was around 2 years old, his mother seemed to scream at him a lot, and she was always hitting him a lot.
Well, now, let me ask you this. Did you personally witness this?
Yes,
Were you over there when that was happening, in other words?
I could see it from my house. Yes, I've been there and seen it, and it happened in my house.
Did you ever talk in your house, too? It
Thank-
happened in your house, too?
Yes,
Would you talk with her about this?
yes, I have.
Did the fact you expressed any concern over it, did that stop it?
Well, no.
Tell us a little bit about the episodes where you've seen him beaten.
Well, I've seen her slap him in the face. I've seen her hit him in the back. I've seen her knuckle him in places where it wouldn't show. And the last visit, they came to my house for a vacation. I had to go between her and him. She had him on the couch, beating him. And she was hitting him in the back, and then she was hitting him in the legs and in the shoulders.
How old was he then?
I would say probably 10, 9, 10, somewhere along in there. It was at Christmas time. When the divorce was going on, I was in Michigan. I had to go up there, and I stayed there at the house. She had moved out with Lauren, the daughter, and Michael was staying with his dad
Where was he staying at with his dad?
at their home. Okay.
In Michigan.
Yes. And Michael had to go stay with his mother one weekend. And when he came home, he had been crying, and he went into the bathroom, and he came out without his shirt. And his dad asked him, Michael, what's that place on your side, your rib cage here? He said, that's where Mom hit me. This was 24 hours after the fact. She left her whole handprint right here on his side, and that turned to a bruise. It stayed there for a long time.
This was during the pendency of the divorce, correct?
Yes.
Did you actually see that bruise?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I had a picture of it. I don't know what I did, but I don't remember where I put it, but I did have it.
Now, Michael Bargo, Michael Bargo Sr.,
Yes,
of course, Mike's daddy. Okay, you're the mama, right?
right.
Now, you were married too. Who were you married to?
I was married to Chester Bargo.
That didn't work out too well either, did it?
I was married to him for 21 and a half years. A very abusive, drunken relationship.
What eventually happened to him?
He blew his brains out with a 12-gauge shotgun.
Do you have any psychiatric history?
Yes. He was in and out of the hospital in Michigan a few times, alcohol, and he would end up there. And he would get out, go back to work, and then, boom, he would go again. And my oldest son got married, and Chet, which we called him Chet,
Right.
was going to work. I went to work, and I came home that evening, and I wondered where he was at. So I went into the bedroom. Everything he owned was gone. He had taken everything and left. He had 3 DUIs against him at that time in Michigan. They had his family located him somewhere between around a year, and he was in the state of Ohio.
A year later, you mean?
During the
During the
I'd
year.
say around a year.
Okay.
He was in jail in Ohio. They had picked him up for DUI. So they got him out of there. They took him to Kentucky. To a mental